You've spent 30 years building a map for everyone else. You've mapped out your children's futures, student lesson plans, and the complicated logistics of a household, but suddenly the GPS of your life is flashing, recalculating signs. The house is getting quieter. The career path that you've walked for decades is feeling more like a treadmill than a trail. And there is a stirring in your spirit that says it's time to go. Not just to leave a job, but to move toward a version of yourself that has been waiting in the wings. For me, that recalculating moment is tangible. It's the sound of packing tape on boxes. It's the realization that my husband Scott and I are preparing to leave Nevada for the streets of New Orleans. It is the great shift in real time, but as I stand among these boxes, I realize that the hardest part of leaving isn't the physical move of furniture. It is the emotional weight of the transition from the woman everyone expected me to be into the matriarch I am becoming. It is about learning how to leave well so that I can arrive whole. If you're new to our circle, welcome to Glimmer and Grace Co. I'm Michelle, and I'm here to help you navigate your graceful pivot toward a soft life of sophisticated simplicity, while also helping you build your quiet income from a digital boutique. We're talking today about legacy-led living, specifically through the lens of preparing your community for your departure. Whether you are moving across the country like I am, or simply moving out of a long-term career, there is a specific kind of graceful pivot required when you are the family anchor. We are the GenX women, the sandwich generation. We're holding the hands of our aging parents while preparing to welcome the next generation. My first grandson arrives in May, and by June, we'll be headed to the French Quarter. But before we can embrace the New Orleans edit of our lives, we have to address the Nevada exit. Think of your life's current chapter like a well-loved garden. You can't just walk away and let the weeds take over the space that you spent years tilling. To move forward with a clear conscience and a light heart, you have to transplant the perennials, gift the cuttings to your neighbors, and prepare the soil for whoever comes next. That is what legacy looks like in the transition. It isn't just about what you take with you. It's about the intentionality of what you leave behind. Many women in our stage of life feel a sense of guilt when they decide to pivot. We feel like we are abandoning our posts, but I want to offer you a different framework. I want you to look at this departure not as an ending, but as a graduation. You aren't quitting your community. You are transitioning from an active manager to a wise consultant. You're moving from a career-driven identity to a legacy-led life. This shift requires a modern matriarch mindset. It means recognizing that your value isn't tied to your constant presence, but to the systems and the wisdom that you've instilled in those around you. This first step in this framework is the audit of the anchor. You need to identify exactly which strings are currently tied to you. Is it the neighbor who relies on you for the weekly check-ins? We often overfunction because we fear being obsolete. But the greatest gift you can give your community is the ability to thrive without you. This is the ultimate lesson plan. As a teacher for over 30 years, I know that the best teachers are the ones who make themselves unnecessary by the end of the term. As I prepare to leave Nevada, I'm looking at my digital boutique as my portable life. It is the transition blueprint that allows me to be the grandma who stays, even when I'm the woman who moves. My legacy isn't my physical presence in a Nevada classroom anymore. My legacy is the freedom I'm building to be present for that little boy arriving in May. We have to stop viewing our soft life as a restart from responsibility. It is choosing to invest your energy where it yields the most glimmers. Those small, profound joys that tell you that you're on the right path. For me, a glimmer is a thought of sharing a coffee on a New Orleans balcony while my digital shop runs in the background. But to get to that balcony, I have to do the work of the pivot today. Transitioning into a soft life isn't just about doing nothing. It's about doing what matters from a place of peace rather than a place of panic. As I prepare to leave my 30-year career in Nevada, I've had to look closely at the infrastructure of my whole life. I mean, teaching is in the very fiber of my soul. If you want to pivot gracefully, you need a vehicle that supports your new landscape. For us, that vehicle is the digital boutique. It is the engine of your quiet income, allowing you to be present for the big moments, like a first grandson's arrival, without sacrificing your financial independence. Think of building your digital boutique like restoring a historic home in New Orleans. You don't start by picking out the curtains, you start by ensuring the foundation is level and that the plumbing is sound. In the digital world, your foundation is the content you create. But here's the secret: you don't have to manufacture every single brick by yourself. This is where we embrace the concept of vetted wisdom through PLR, or private label rights. PLR is essentially ready-made brandable content that you can customize. It's like buying a high-quality base for a recipe. You wouldn't churn your own butter every time you want to bake a cake, would you? No. You start with quality ingredients and add your own unique flavors, your stories, your metaphors, and your experience to make a signature dish. Using PLR allows you to launch your digital products faster, filling in the gaps in your marketing without the grind of staring at a blank cursor for hours. To make this shift from content consumer to boutique owner, we follow a 3-step framework that I like to call the boutique blueprint. First, you must select with intent. You don't need every single digital product under the sun. You only need the ones that align with your legacy. Ask yourself, does this help my audience find their glimmer? Does it solve a problem I already have solved in my own life? If you are a retired teacher, perhaps your boutique offers organizational tools for busy households. If you're navigating a health journey, maybe it's a guide of mindful living. Your selection should feel like a natural extension of your own voice. You infuse your essence. This is where you take that base content and stir in your own story. If a PLR guide talks about time management, you talk about it through the lens of a GenX woman, managing a household and a career. You add the modern elder perspective. You change the vocabulary to match your brand, swapping out the word hustle for harmony. This ensures that when your customers read your work, they aren't just getting information, they are getting you. Third, you automate the flow. A true soft life means your boutique works while you're walking the dogs or rocking a newborn. You set up a simple nurture sequence, a series of emails that welcome people into your circle and offer them value. This is how you build a relationship that translates into a quiet income. It's not about a viral moment, it's about a consistent, graceful presence in someone's inbox. I remember a friend who wanted to start her own digital shop, but it felt like she was being a slave to her content. She was trying to write everything from scratch while also caring for her elderly mother. She was exhausted. I showed her how to use this high-quality PLR pack on intentional living. She took the core concepts, she added in her own reflections on caregiving, and turned them into a beautiful digital workbook. Within a month, she had her first sales, and she didn't have to grind to get there. She just had to be resourceful with the tools already available to her. This is the great shift in action. It's moving away from the idea that everything must be hard to be valuable. Your value lies in your curation and your perspective, not in your exhaustion. As we move closer to the New Orleans edit of my life, my digital boutique is the anchor that gives me wings. It allows me to pack these boxes in Nevada with a sense of excitement rather than dread. The only thing I'm dreading is painting the entire inside of this house over spring break. Knowing my quiet income is coming with me across the state lines brings me joy. Navigating your 3-month roadmap and building a digital boutique is one thing, but keeping it alive and breathing is a whole new thing. This is where many women feel the grind start creeping back in. They think that they need to be on every platform, every hour of the day, shouting into the void. But as a modern matriarch, you don't shout. Girl, you speak with intention. You don't need a viral moment. You need a stable content marketing plan that serves as a compass for your business. especially when your life is in the middle of a major pivot. Think of your content plan like a well-organized family recipe book. You look at the season, you check the pantry, you follow a plan that ensures everyone's nourished without the cook burning out. In your business, your pantry is your library of ideas and your PLR assets. Your season is your 90-day editorial calendar. To move toward a soft life, we use a framework that I call the 4 pillars of presence. These are the 4 areas where your content must live to build a legacy. It's awareness, lead generation, paid content, and relationship building. First is awareness. This is the wide entrance into your circle. It's where you share your glimmers, those small stories and the insights that help people get to know who you are. This isn't about selling, it's about visibility. It's the equivalent of a friendly wave from your porch in the French Quarter. Second is lead generation. This is where you offer a taste of your wisdom. You give a small, high-value digital asset like a checklist for intentional living or a guide to shifting careers in exchange for an email address. This is how you qualify your leads. You're inviting people off the public street and into your private garden. Third is paid content. This is the heart of your digital boutique. These are your courses, your deep dive workbooks, and your coaching resources. This is where your quiet income is generated. Finally, there is relationship building. This is the most important pillar for your legacy-led life. It's the follow-up. It's the email that says, I saw you download the guide. How's your pivot going? This is where trust is solidified and where customers become lifelong members of your community. I worked with a woman who was terrified of marketing, and she felt like it was beneath her or that it required a girl boss energy that she simply did not possess anymore. I told her to stop thinking of it as marketing and start thinking of it as a lesson plan for legacy. She was a retired nurse with a wealth of knowledge on holistic wellness for women over 50. Once she realized that her content was a way to teach her community how to care for themselves, the fear completely vanished from her. She created a simple 3-month calendar. She used PRL to build up her lead magnets, and then she spent her energy writing the personal stories that connected those products to her audience. She wasn't grinding. She was sharing. It was natural because it came from her real-life experience. To keep this sustainable, you must audit your assets. Look at what you already have. Maybe you have an old blog journals or even lesson plans from your previous career. These are the seeds of your boutique. You don't always need new. You often just need to renew. Pair your existing wisdom with a fresh PLR to keep your content flowing without draining your battery. As I look at my calendar for the next 3 months, it's marked by the life landmarks, the birth of our grandson, the move to New Orleans. My content plan is designed to support these landmarks, not compete with them. I have a 90-day roadmap ready, so when the boxes are being loaded up onto the truck, my digital boutique is still speaking to you, offering grace and guidance while I'm on the road. When we talk about the soft life, we aren't talking about a life without structure. The soft life requires more structure at the beginning so that it can have more freedom at the end. As I stand in my Nevada home looking at this life that I've built over 3 decades, I realize that the only way to move to New Orleans with peace is to have a 90-day anchor. This is your implementation plan. It is the roadmap that ensures your digital boutique thrives in the real world. This is your 90-day plan. Think of your 90-day plan like a lighthouse. When the waves of transition get high, when the moving truck is late, or when the new baby arrives and sleep becomes a luxury, the lighthouse keeps you from crashing into the rocks of busy work. You just need to follow the light you've already set for yourself. To make this work without the grind, we use the Legacy Review Framework. This is a 3-step process to ensure that your business stays aligned with your life. First, you must set your time boundaries. As GenX women, we are used to being on call 24/7, but a digital boutique is meant to serve you, not the other way around. Look at your calendar and mark the non-negotiables first. The family dinners, the dog walks, the quiet mornings with your coffee. Find the small pockets of time for your business. Maybe it's an hour on Tuesday mornings to customize a PLR blog post. Maybe it's 30 minutes on Thursday to check your boutique's metrics. When you set a time limit, you give yourself permission to stop. That is where the softness comes from. Second, you measure your glimmers. In business, people talk about ROI or return on investment, but I want you to track your return on energy. Every 30 days, look at your content and your sales. What's working? What felt too heavy? If writing long form sales pages makes you feel like a slave to your laptop, pivot. Find a way to use a recorded video or a shorter, more personal email. Use your metrics to identify what resonates with your audience so that you can do more of that and let go of the rest. Third, maintain the flow. This is where the 90-day PLR action planner comes in. Don't let those digital assets sit in your hard drive like boxes in the garage. Revisit what you bought. Look for one thing that you can repurpose. Can that checklist become a social media post? Can that short lesson become a lead magnet? A fresh perspective every 30 to 60 days turns static content into living legacy. I think back to when I first started moving toward this great shift. I felt like I had to be a girl boss to succeed, working late, drinking too much coffee, constantly checking my phone. It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't grace. I had to learn to treat my business like a garden, not a factory. Some seasons are for planting, creating the content. Some are for harvesting, reaping the quiet income. By using a 90-day roadmap, I stopped reacting to my business and I started leading it. As the Bayou Boys and I prepare for New Orleans, I'm following this exact plan. My digital boutique is organized, my content's scheduled, and my anchor is set. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about progress with grace. If this video resonated with you at all, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and join Glimmer and Graceco community as we navigate this shift together. Remember to find your glimmers today and walk in grace. Bye.